Before you begin any ceiling fan installation, turn the power off at the circuit breaker box. Be sure to read the instruction manual so this can be a safe and efficient process. First step is to install the mounting bracket to the fan box. And keep a note, your box must be rated for ceiling fans that can hold up to 50 pounds or more. So yeah, we're going to attach the mounting bracket, and this, we're going to use the screws that I got for the box to attach the mounting bracket to. And this is a very important step because you want to make sure your bracket's secured to the box very well, because, and that part has to be very tight because you don't want the fan coming down your face. So we're going to attach the bracket to the box. And it screws in with 2 screws. And or you can screw this to a wooden joist in your ceiling. Now we're going to remove the screws and the shipping blocks from the motor, and also remove the tags too. Note, save the screws that are used, that are holding, save these screws that hold the shipping blocks in place, because you'll need them to attach the blade irons to the fan motor. See? And there's 5 shipping blocks, so you have to repeat for each process. And you can discard the shipping blocks after you've taken the screws out of the shipping blocks. As I said before, save the screws because you'll need them to attach the blade irons to the motor. And you can also disregard this tag too while at it. Now it's time to remove the set screw and the tag on top of the motor. And note, save that square-headed set screw because you'll need it to tighten the downrod back into place when you're done screwing on your downrod to the fan. And now you can disregard the tag. Now it's time to put the downrod on the motor. Slide your canopy on top of the motor along with the downrod and hand tighten the downrod until it stops. And now take a few turns, basically. And also note the canopy does slide up too. And now it's time to put the screw back in the motor collar. And note, you can remove the canopy to do this. And note, do not hand tighten the screw when you're about to finish it off, because that can come loose too. Before hanging the fan, it's recommended you cut the wire 6 inches longer than the downrod size you're using. And also note, the ground wire could be used as a guide to cut the wires down to. So just note that depending on your ceiling height, you need more length of wire, but so far we're going to go ahead and now get to hanging the fan. Now it's time to hang the fan. Grab a motor and seat the ball into the hanger bracket. And make sure your wires are out of the way because you don't want to pinch them. So now we're going to assemble the fan. Now we're going to connect our wires. We're going to start attaching our green ground wires first. Then our white wires, our blue and black wires. First, we're going to be starting attaching the ground wire, which is typically green to green or green to copper. Since we don't have a ground wire on this rig, we're going to connect those two greens to the downrod green to the mounting bracket green ground wire. Now, since we're only controlling this fan by one switch, we're going to tie the black and the blue wires together. So we're going to take our white wire and wire nut the white wire together. Just like so. And now we're going to tie our blue and black wires together to the black wire of the house, which is typically your hot wire, which is your hot wire for the fan itself. And of course, you always should have the power off at this point because this is very dangerous. Now it's time to tuck the wires into the canopy with the mounting bracket. Now it's time to put on the canopy. Align the holes on the canopy with the 2 holes on the mounting bracket on the sides. First, we're going to hand tighten it, and then we're going to tighten it with the screwdriver, using the Phillips screwdriver. Now it's time to put together our blades with the blade irons. First of all, we're going to install the rubber grommets into the blades. And note, they should go in with the blades themselves. So yeah, it comes with the hardware pack, so open those bags up with the rubber grommets. Now it's time to insert the rubber grommets to the blades. And note, each plate has 3 holes in it. So we're going to take our rubber grommet and we're going to insert them to the blades. So this is how it's going to be done. You grab it and pinch it through like so. And fit them through. Note, they should fit through the other side properly, so. Like that. And do that for the exact 3 holes for each blade. Repeat process for every remaining blades. Now it's time for me to put the blades on with the blade irons. And note, each blade iron to the blade has 3 screws. So this should have 15 in total screws. So for the blade irons, you align the blade holes with the blade irons and take your screws and then align them with the blade. As you lined up with your holes in your blade to the blade iron, screw your screws into those blade irons to hold the blade in place. So take your screwdriver and tighten, and repeat the process for each blade. And make sure they're nice and tight because you don't want the fan blades coming loose, so it's a very important step. Now repeat the process for each remaining blade. Repeat process for every remaining blade. Now it's time to attach the fan blades to the motor. Now we take our blade that you attached to the blade iron, take those screws you saved from earlier, and insert them into the blade iron like that, and bring it up with your screwdriver like so. And make sure you line them up with the holes in the motor so you can screw them down. First screw you put in, don't tighten all the way, because you might need to wiggle them around, because if you didn't line them up with the holes earlier for the motor. So just do this. And repeat this step for every single blade. Repeat process for every remaining blade. Now that you have done the blades themselves, it's always a good idea to check each blade screw individually, going around in a circle, because you want to make sure all of them are tight to the motor, because you don't want the blades coming off. Yeah, they're all tight. You don't want any of them loose. That's it. That part. Now it's time to attach the switch housing. Now we remove the rubber band that holds this upper part of the wiring harness together. Now take your 2 screws that you opened from the screw pack earlier, and then insert them into the bottom part of the motor of the switch housing, the upper part of the switch housing, so you can secure the mid portion on there. So this is what you do, is like you align the screws up with the holes at the bottom of it. So don't tighten all the way, because you'll need room to put on your lower switch housing. Now it's time to put on the mid portion of the switch housing, but only screwing these 2 screws. Now you take your 3rd screw that you opened from the screw pack, and now you take that. Once you find the alignment up for the screws up here, now it's time to screw in the upper part of the switch housing, as you can see here. And be sure not to over tighten, because you will strip the screws of the switch housing. Now, for the lower part of switch housing, insert the 2 screws for the upper part, and then screw them into the upper on the holes on the side of the switch housing for the upper switch housing. Take those 2 screws and put them in the holes and screw a little bit, but don't tighten all the way, because you'll need room for the 3rd screw. So, because we're going to put on the 3rd screw that holds the switch housing. So now it's time to put on the lower switch housing of the fan. Take your plug and align them color to color, and make sure they all match, and plug them in like so. Now take your switch housing, make sure the wires fit up in the upper part of the switch housing like so, and now take your last screw with the screw pack that you got with the fan, and screw them onto the side of the switch housing. Same step like you did earlier, but make sure they're tightened all the way, because you don't want them to come loose. And now tighten every screw after you put them in. Last step is to install the pull chain fob to pull chain. And now, that's it with the installation. When you're done installing the fan, turn the power back on and you're ready to try it out. And that's it. And your Hunter Builder Elite ceiling fan has now been installed. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more ceiling fan how-to installations. We'll see you on the next video.